Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. We've noticed a pattern recently. When Young and Restless need something to happen, besides Victor plotting this, or that revenge, or characters talking business to the point that we feel like we should be on the payroll, it introduces a psycho or two. Consider, we went straight from Ian Ward and crazy Aunt Jordan's reign of terror to Martin's. The storylines were so back-to-back that Sharon had scarcely recovered from one kidnapping when she was abducted again. What does this tell us? We are likely to be getting another screw-loose villain sooner than later. In fact, the casting of this role has us suspecting that Ian Ward will be back on the scene by the end of May. But head writer Josh Griffith seems to like making up baddies with ties to the canvas about which we knew nothing. Jordan, for instance, was the twisted sister that Eve Howard never mentioned. And Martin is the evil twin of Alan Laurent, who was such a dear friend of Ashley's that in all the years that she knew him, she never so much as uttered his name. That being the case, who might be next to roll off the big bad assembly line? We have a few semi-educated guesses. With Jordan pushing up daisies, Ian is going to need a new sidekick, someone he can really trust. Hey, why not the adopted daughter that we never knew he had? He could have raised her to hate all the same people that he does, and finally have decided to turn her loose. Who we cast? Victoria Grace, whose talents were undeserved as Days of Our Lives Wendy, never knew that crazy David Kimball had brother. No matter. Young and Restless can just make him up like it did Eve's sister and Ashley's friend. If Howard came to Genoa City, his first order of business would be trying to exact payback on Christy and Danny for their part in David's demise. Who we cast? As the world turns, Emmy winner Michael Park, Jack. Cameron Kirsten may have died as obsessed with Sharon as he ever was, but he may have left behind another threat for his longtime victim, the wife he married while behind bars. Helen could blame Sharon for Cameron's demise, and come after not only his company, but the woman who now runs it. Who be cast? Krista Allen, ex-Taylor, bold and beautiful. Remember Michael Scott, the photographer Victor locked up and tortured for flirting with his then-wife Julia. His son Jason, if he went on to have one, could have grown up watching how Dad was haunted by what Victor did to him. In fact, Jason might have waited until his father was laid to rest to make his move and seek revenge on Victor. Who we cast? Kobe Ryan McLaughlin, ex-Chilo, General Hospital. In the ever-turbulent world of Genoa City, just when it feels like the dust is finally settling, a new storm brews, mysterious, dangerous, and born of old secrets. His name is Elias Kane, and he's not just another con man or manipulative business rival. No, Elias is something far more calculated, and his obsession with power is tied directly to some of the darkest villains the town has ever seen. Elias Kane is charismatic, refined, and unnervingly perceptive. He arrives in Genoa City under the guise of an ambitious investor looking to shake things up in the tech sector. Tall, sharply dressed, with a presence that feels too slick to be trusted, he quickly charms his way into the graces of the Newman and Abbott circles, offering large investments and whispered promises of mutual gain. What no one realizes at first is that Elias is a ghost from the past, or rather, the result of past ghosts. He's the illegitimate son of Cameron Kirsten, conceived during one of Cameron's many dark escapades, and raised in secrecy by a woman Cameron manipulated and discarded. But Elias never forgot the stories of his father, not just who he was, but how he died, at the hands of Sharon. Elias's mission is vengeance, not just for his father's death, but for the erasure of his father's name from power. In his mind, Genoa City turned a blind eye to Cameron's potential. He sees Sharon, Nick, and even Victor as the architects of Cameron's downfall. But Elias doesn't just want to hurt them. He wants to outsmart, outplay, and ultimately replace them. But his rage doesn't burn hot, it's ice cold. His style of revenge is psychological, manipulative, and surgical. He starts subtly. To Sharon, he becomes a mysterious supporter of her mental health advocacy work, hiding his true identity while exploiting her past trauma for public exposure. To Nick, he offers a partnership in a philanthropic tech fund, pushing Nick to trust him more and more, only to orchestrate a public scandal that makes Nick question everything. To Victor, he presents himself as the next generation of business elite, a potential ally, or maybe even heir. But Elias's connections don't end with Cameron Kirsten. Behind the scenes, Ilias has also been corresponding with a prisoner, Ian Ward, the master manipulator and cult leader. Through cryptic letters and coded messages, Ian has mentored Ilias, feeding his ego and paranoia, and encouraging him to view Genoa City as a playground for chaos. And in a shocking reveal, Ian is Ilias' godfather. When Ilias' mother died under suspicious circumstances, it was Ian who took him in briefly, grooming him for a life of psychological warfare before going underground. Now Ilias doesn't just want to avenge his father, he wants to finish what Ian started. But he's smarter than Ian ever was. He doesn't want to burn Genoa City to the ground. He wants to control it. He manipulates Audra Charles into a steamy alliance, both physical and strategic. But when she starts to see through him, he blackmails her with a video that could ruin her career. He forms a shaky partnership with Adam Newman, feeding Adam's resentment toward Victor, while secretly planting seeds of doubt and disloyalty between father and son. He pretends to take Noah Newman under his wing for an art tech venture, only to exploit his vulnerabilities and cause a relapse of Noah's past mental health struggles. Meanwhile, he begins psychologically tormenting Sharon through anonymous texts, objects from her past, like a bottle of Cameron's cologne showing up on her doorstep, and voice recordings eerily similar to Cameron's tone, all calculated to make her question her sanity. But even masterminds have weaknesses. Ilias' obsession with control begins to unravel when he develops a genuine, unexpected connection with fake Newman, now back in town and wiser than she once was. Their initial flirtation turns into something more real, and for the first time, Ilias feels something unfamiliar: doubt. Can he destroy a family if it means destroying the only person who's seen through his facade and still cared? Meanwhile, Chance Chancellor begins investigating a series of anonymous shell companies involved in recent scandals and traces them back to Ilias. The trap is tightening, but Ilias is always one step ahead, or so it seems. Ilias' true identity comes to light in a dramatic courtroom-style showdown, where Sharon finally confronts him in front of the Newmans, Abbotts, and half of Genoa City. She recognizes his eyes, his voice, the eerie echo of Cameron, and everything clicks into place. But Ilias isn't shaken. In fact, he planned this reveal, his final move, a hostile takeover of Newman Media using offshore accounts, fake news scandals, and one final betrayal: Adam. Yet just as he seems victorious, Victor pulls out a last-minute counterstrike, a fake investor planted months ago who exposes Ilias' crimes and links to Ian Ward. Cornered and enraged, Ilias spirals into one last desperate plan: kidnapping Faith, hoping to force Sharon into a live confession of guilt over Cameron's death, believing it will vindicate his father and him. But Faith outsmarts him. Sharon faces her trauma, and in a gut-wrenching scene, Ilias is arrested, not screaming, but eerily calm. He promises to return. You don't erase bloodlines. You bury them until they claw their way back. Ilias is locked up, but his story isn't over. Rumors swirl of a journal he left behind, containing secrets about Victor, about Ian's final plans, and about a second heir, a half-sibling, raised in Europe, whose identity remains a mystery. And so, Genoa City breathes again, but only for a moment, because in the world of the young and the restless, villains never die. They just evolve. Want to build out Ilias' next arc, or explore the mysterious sibling reveal, or maybe a redemption path? Let's keep building the chaos.